For more on efforts to conserve this unique animal, I'm joined by Marc Brody. He's the president of Panda Mountain and the US-China Environment Fund. Thanks so much for your time, Marc. Now, tell us more about this 50-year joint giant panda conservation program. Why was it created and how has it developed?
Well, thank you. It really began by, in part, the charisma and character of President Nixon, Pat Nixon's diplomacy in China. She kind of wowed and charmed the Chinese people as she toured the country and went to various venues, to schools, to hospitals, to orphanages. But one of the lasting impressions was when she visited the Beijing Zoo, and she was so enamored with giant pandas that Premier Zhou, just a couple, 3 months later, returned a generous gesture and gifted 2 giant pandas to the National Zoo, to the Smithsonian, and thus, in April of 1972, panda diplomacy was born, and largely in part by Pat Nixon.
And of course, this is, in many ways, a kind of diplomacy that's not been disrupted by the very turbulent US-China relations of late. So how important do you think this program has become for diplomatic relations today?
Well, I think it's particularly important given China's ascending leadership in the world. There's no question that 50 years ago, compared to today, China has tremendous influence. At once, back in 1972, China was rather insular. Today, China has far reach and influence across the world. And I think pandas have always been, and through panda diplomacy, it's always been a way to extend goodwill to China and all the nations that participate in a panda loan program. But I think what really is telling today, particularly as I say China's leadership is increasing and playing a central role on the global stage, that it's not only about raising awareness for endangered animals. I think more significantly, especially this summer, when we see and witness and experience greater environmental challenges, the sense of saving the panda is almost becoming a way of us focusing on ecological issues, to whether it's to save ourselves, to certainly improve our future life. So I think now panda diplomacy could be a stepping stone so that there's an urgency for nations to come together to address more global environmental challenges.
Is there a concern, though, that given relations are strained over high-level US visits to Taiwan, that bilateral tensions could end the program?
I don't think so, but certainly that's China's choice. I would hope not, because as you've noted, and many people have, there are so many great benefits. And it's a thing, again, pandas bring a sense of joy. I've seen stodgy, businessmen visiting panda centers, and they're like kids in a candy shop. Pandas have a way of bringing a sense of joy to people. So I would hope that doesn't happen. Of course, anything could, but I would think not.
All right.
Go ahead.
Marc, really appreciate your time. Thank you for that. Marc Brody for us there, president of Panda Mountain and US-China Environment Fund.